So, 14 years ago, I was obsessed with a certain book series, and if you don't know what came out around 15 years ago, then I guess you're about to be educated. 14 years ago, I was on study leave. Well, not this, literally 14 years ago, but around this time, 14 years ago, I was on study leave for my GCSEs, meaning I was meant to be revising for my GCSEs. I did. But I guess around the time near the end of study leave, / the end of study leave and after my exams, I asked my mum to pick up a certain series that was trending and I saw everywhere. And when I saw everywhere, not as much as I would see books now, because TikTok I don't think was a thing then, and if it was, I wasn't on it. And I didn't even have Instagram, I had a BlackBerry, so it was more, everyone I knew was talking about it. So I was like, Mum, can I get these books? So 16-year-old me, fresh out of school, picks up these books for the first time and becomes a little bit obsessed. Now, I can say I've seen these films a few too many times, meaning the second and third, because the first one I don't love. I've read the books once, and I kept the books for so long and actually put like tabs in my favourite section so I could reread my favourite scenes. I never did that. I've now decided 14 years later to see if I still love this specific book series or not. So if you haven't guessed by the title, you might have not seen it, but hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. I'm Amelia and I upload book content, and if you're not new here, then welcome back. I kind of hope you enjoyed that little intro as a little tease of what's going to happen in this video, because I have been thinking about doing a reread of this series for quite a while now, and I was like, okay, I haven't got the books anymore. I'll just buy them on Kindle, found out they're quite cheap. If you add it all together, it was like £12 for the three together. Well, not all together, but like on a down, I bought them. And I was like, you know what, we're going to pick them up. And it feels really weird to say I'm rereading this book series. And it feels really weird to say that this was my OG favourite series. Okay, that's a bit of a lie. I had a lot of other favourite books before this. But when I was 16, this book series it kind of took over my life because I became obsessed with it. I started to think maybe my future husband will be Christian Grey. Yes, I know, a fictional character. And I know I always say, I have that still now with most fictional boyfriends, but like, come on. Not exactly the ideal guy. But I remember being obsessed with the series, and I want to see if I'm still as obsessed. I don't think I'll be as obsessed. I think since then I've read better books. Now, back in those days, these were very, like, if you heard them out, everyone knew what you were reading. They were very smutty, explicit. Everyone knew exactly what book you were reading and what was going on in that book, to the point where you'd feel a bit embarrassed to read the physical book in public. I remember reading the last book at my nan's, and I felt very embarrassed, even though my nan had no idea what the books were. I then decided to buy it on my Kindle so I didn't have to hold a physical book. However, I've read more smuttier books since then, and I know there's a lot more books that are more explicit than this now. But still, it's quite funny to say I'm about to read all 3 of the 50 Shades books. So my next 3 books of my time is going to be reading 50 Shades. That baffles me because I haven't read them, like I said, in 14 years. Like, I binged the series when it came out. So we are about to read, well, I've started today 50 Shades of Grey, and I've read the first 2 chapters already, and I obviously know what happens from the books, from the films, and I know like the main things that happen, but I also know in each of the books there's so many scenes that didn't get put into the film, because obviously they couldn't put everything in the film, that I actually loved. So I cannot wait to see what happens. But we've read the first 2 chapters. I will let you know, this is going to be a spoiler video. If you don't know what a spoiler video is, basically I'm going to tell you what happens. I'm not going to keep things secret in this video, because it's been out for 14 years. The films are out. You might not read the books, but you can go watch the films and get the premise of the story. But in this series, you're following Christian and Anna, and from what I remember, this is basically it was a Twilight fan fiction. But instead of the guy being a vampire, the guy he calls himself a dominant, he does BDSM, and it's the way he is. Like, he needs to control from, like, history, things that have happened in history, but he knows it's not right for Anna, who is a hopeless romantic. However, he still tries to pursue her, and then she still agrees and goes with him, like, tries to do the contract, but then realising she can't do it, breaks, and then this is what happens at the end of this book, breaks up with him, or ends things with him because she's in love with him and he can't love her. And then the other books, you see them actually fall in love in the story. But there's also other twists and turns. So I'll keep you updated. But so far, we've had when Anna had to go, literally the first chapter is, Anna had to go and fill in for her housemate and best friend, Catherine. Because Catherine, or Kate is what they call her in the book, because Kate is like an editor for a newspaper article at a university, and they need to why do I say she's doing an interview with Christian Grey before he comes and does the speech at the graduation, but Kate is actually ill, so instead has to ask her housemate Anna to go and fill in for her at this interview. So that Anna goes into this interview, falls into Christian's office. So that's she literally falls into his lap, basically. He then helps her up. They have an interview. She asks him if he's gay, because that's one of the questions. And then she thinks she's never going to see him again, and then she's at work at this place called Clayton's hardware store, and he just arrives. Now, later on, especially if you've seen the film, you might know what happens. He's actually looked her up, and in some ways, I was considering doing this reread, but reading it from Christian's point of view, because he's got a book which is called Grey, Darker, Freed, so it's without the 50 Shades part, it's just the words Grey, Darker, Freed, and I was considering it. But I just feel like I want the OG books, so we're doing the OG books. Updates to give you, because I feel like I didn't film anything yesterday, but I definitely made a bit of a dent into this book. I'm now about 35% of the way through. I'm still having a time of my life. We have now got past the point where Anna has got in Charlie Tango, which is Christian's helicopter, and gone to Christian's place, tried to find out what he wants, finds out he wants a dominant submissive relationship, which is not what she originally thought. She just generally thought he was not the relationship type of guy. He finds out she's a virgin and basically goes, let's rectify the situation. Like, it's a problem with her being a virgin. One thing that kept cringing me out, and I did not realise how much he said it in that chapter until I read it yesterday. He kept saying the words make love, and I don't know why, but that just sounds so cringy. I don't know why, it just does. Like, and it's like once fine, but kept saying it. It's like, can I make love to you now? Like, no. I don't know why, I just found that really cringy, but it made me laugh. But they did that. They now moved on, like, he's given her the contract, and oh my god, I forgot the whole contract was written out in this book. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why, but I'm not, I guess because I've read it before, I didn't really want to read the whole contract, but I wanted to skim read it. I don't really care what's in the contract. I understand for authenticity of the book, I guess, and also, like, some people understand the flow of the book and understand what's in the contract rather than just guessing. It's good to have it there. I think because I've already read it, I was like, I don't really want to read the whole contract again. Like, I remember the contract pretty much. I've seen the film. It's fine. There is very much so many differences in the film, like, and it's like, that's fine. Like, they go for dinner on the way back from his, or lunch, or whatever you want to call it, and that's when she finds out that he's done it, like, everything he's done that night was first, like, slept in the same bed with her, introduced her to his mum, stuff like that. Like, in the film, they went for a walk, so some things are different. There's obviously a lot of things are missing in the film that isn't here, like Anna forgiving Jose for trying to kiss her. That wasn't made a big deal in the film, but in the books it's quite made a big deal, if that makes sense. But again, I don't think that was pivotal to the plot. I don't think you needed that in the plot to actually understand the plot, so it's fine. I'm enjoying my reread. I've said this before already in this vlog. This is not my favourite book of the series, the 3-book series. It is my least favourite, so I'm trying to get through it so I can get to the other two. Because I just don't really, but I also don't want to skip, There's scenes in this book that I go, oh, that's really cute. And I'm a person who loves, if I'm reading a romance book, I love the cute, happy romances, like the cute, happy romance scenes. Obviously, I know you need, like, the plot twist, and I think some of this is so funny. When you see how different they are to this book to the other two books, it makes me laugh so much. And I think maybe because I've seen the films, and in the films they look so different in the last two films than they do in the first film, it makes me laugh hilariously more, because I'm like, oh, if it's only meant to be like a few weeks or at least a month goes by, it looks like about a year or so has gone by in the film. So but I'm loving it. One thing that made me laugh is obviously her and Kate are applying for jobs. They're just graduating college, and it's making me laugh because she got her job interviews like through letter, and like I don't think I've ever had a job interview come through letter. Okay, I look a little bit. I spent the morning tidying my room because it was a mess, and I'm working from home all of next week, so I just know that if I wasn't at home, if I didn't tidy my room, next week was going to become a week where I was going to be like, I can't actually do this for 5 days straight in a room. So, yeah, trying to make it a little bit more like, work from home friendly, I guess you could say. However, I have an update to give you. I finished 50 Shades of Grey, the first book, last night. I said I was going to. I made it my mission, and I knew I would, because it was just one of those books that I just know that I can't sit on the book for so long, because I eventually get to the point where I'm like, no. But also the ending is just, I get the ending, and I think the ending was right, but because I know what's happening in the next two books, and they're going to end up back together, the ending just for me just doesn't really hit. I think now, because when I first read it, it hit. I was like, oh my god, like, but also I'm happy that she chose to leave for her own sake, because she knew it wasn't going to go where she wanted to go. So basically, Christian and Anna get to a point where she's fallen for him, but he can't give her what she wants. So she basically tries to get him to show her how painful it could be, and she then goes, she realises she's not made for that, and so she basically ends things with him. They're both heartbroken, although obviously I'm not reading Christian's point of view, so I'm assuming he was the way he acts at the beginning of the next book. And then she leaves, and it ends off there. And yeah, I give it a 3.5 stars. I think that's a really good rating. I think I had a time of my life. The writing is not magnificent, and I think if it wasn't for the fact that I have read the books before, I've seen the films, I know what's happening, and I just rereading it, I think that would have been a lower rating, just because the writing was a bit like meh. But because I've already read the books, I'm not marking on what the writing's like. I'm marking on the fact that if I'm still having a good time reading it, and I'm still enjoying the storyline, which I was. So now I've picked up 50 Shades Darker, which is the second one in the series. Casually just time lapsing, reading my 75 books, and I forgot. I knew Layla, I knew Layla stopped her after her day at work, which is on the way to the bar with her manager. Coincidentally, they're going to a bar called 50s, like, how ironic, or iconic, whichever you want to say. However, I forgot that it was a bit more of a conversation than just Anastasia. She turns around and they say one word and she walks away. This is, I forgot that Layla went to her, what do you have that I don't? Now, obviously, as a stranger, that means nothing. You have no clue who that is. But now that we know who she is, you're like, sorry? And this is what I mean, this book has more plot to it, like, and more of a there's a bit of a, not, I wouldn't say thriller, like, that's not giving thriller vibes, but it's kind of like, if you've not read this book before, and you've not seen the film, you wouldn't know who that is, so yeah, in your head, that would be a little bit thrillery, because it's a bit scary why someone's randomly saying that to you. It's actually crazy. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I've said this in the first book, and I was saying it in this book. Having a time of my life. Why these books are like 500 pages long, I don't know, but I can tolerate that. I'm 33% of the way through. We've just had the masquerade ball that I didn't forget happened, because obviously if you've watched the film, it happened in the film obviously as well. But there's so many scenes in the book that did not happen in the film, and this is what I mean when I say Dr. Flynn should have had points of being in the show. Like, at least be met. We could have met him at the masquerade ball. I kind of get why they probably left him out, because I think we're meeting so many new characters and different characters in each book, like each film, like more we add, the longer it'll be, the more confusing it'll be as well. So I appreciate that, but had the scene where Anna meets Flynn, we've had her meet Mrs. Robinson, like actually meet her at the masquerade ball, and it's just crazy. Like, she's told Anna that Christian loves her when Christian hasn't even said those words to her. But she stood up for herself. She stood up for herself and stood up for the relationship in front of Mrs. Robinson. And honestly, good on her, good on her. And then Christian stood up for her as well and told her to leave Anna alone and stuff. And it was just, yes. And we've now got to the bit where Layla has slashed Anna's car tyres and sprayed white paint all over the car. So yeah, having a time of my life. So much still to happen, so much still to unpack. But anyway, what I did come to speak to you about is I did finish the second 50 Shades book yesterday. I finished 50 Shades Darker. I loved it. Anna and Christian are now engaged. He announced it to the whole family. Mrs. Robinson, or Elena, was basically found out by Christian's mum what happened and has basically been cut off. She was really trying to, like, not support the engagement, not support Anna or Christian, not support, like, anything. So, yeah, it didn't go down very well with each other, but, yeah, it was dramatic ending. And then you had, like, a little, I wouldn't say it's an epilogue, but at the end of the last chapter, you got a little scene from Jack Hyde, basically being there, like, oh, it should have been me. Not only should have been me, if you've seen we'll get to that in the next book, but, like, getting a bit wound up and about Anna and Christian, like, ruining his life, basically, which we're then going to see more of in the next book. But I did actually give the second one 4 stars. And I know the writing ain't great. I'm not saying it's the best writing in the world, but it is nostalgia for me, and I love the series and I love this book. The second one is one of my favourite books of the series, and I just love everything that happens, and I'm obsessed. And I'm having the time of my life rereading it. I'm like, it's made me smile, it's made me happy. It has made me want to pick up the books. Like, I've not had that book going, oh, I've got to pick this book up again. Like, that's how I was feeling when I was getting to the end of when I was on Tower of Dawn and Empire Storms. Like, oh, I have to pick this book up again. I don't want to pick it up. Like, that is when I'm not enjoying a book, but I am enjoying these books. I really want to pick it up. Like, I actually want to continue reading, and it feels like I'm reading it for the first time, even though I know what's happening. So, yeah, having a great time, loving it. So, 4 stars to the 50 Shades Darker, which means we're on to the final book of the series, which is 50 Shades Freed. This is a really great one. It's a beautiful story. So much happens in this book, and in some ways this book breaks my heart in many ways, partly because I know it's the end, but there's just things that happen in this book that breaks my heart. And there is something that happens in this book that winds me up that this is not in the film, because it is a very, very massive plot in the book. I'll say it now because it is. I'm going to spoil it when it comes to it anyway. But Anna's dad, Ray, ends up getting in an accident with Jose's dad. And it's like really bad, and it's a whole moment of like you see Christian basically be there for Anna and try and give her some kind of like help her through it, and it's just a beautiful experience. It's like not stories but plot, even though it's so sad to see, but it leads on to the next plot twist which we do get in the film, and it kind of annoys me that it's just not really in the film, but it's okay. I understand they can't put everything in the film, so. Hello, oh my god, okay, we are at the end of this video. I haven't obviously got the books to show you. I've also changed the cover on my Kindle to the book I'm now reading, so no covers to show you. However, I have now finished 50 Shades Freed, which means I have finished my reread of the whole series in like about a week and a half, I want to say. That didn't take that long. I absolutely loved my reread of this book. It was such a fun time rereading the series. I've already outlined my thoughts throughout this time of filming for all of them, so I'm not going to do much of an ending or be reviewing it all because I've told you it throughout this whole video. However, I think you can tell I've really enjoyed my reread. Like I said before, it's not the greatest of writing in the world, however, I'm having the time of my life in the reread, so I enjoyed it. I gave the last book 3.75 stars. I thought I'm pretty sure, I'm like 100% sure that the middle book, 50 Shades Darker, is my favourite one of the three, but I loved them all. Had a great time vibing, but that does mean that this video is over, but I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give a thumbs up, please comment down below, please subscribe, and I will see you again very soon with another video. Bye!